Yeah, I'm living my best life.
Hello and welcome to another episode of A Lot of Alexis. As always, I am so glad that you're here. I have a repeat offender guest with me. Abby is back.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Last week, we talked about something really fun, which was the Texas trip for Matt's 30th birthday, which you went on.
Best trip of my entire life.
It really was the best trip ever.
Ever. I would go back anytime. We should book it.
I know. What's the next thing? Because we're going. Mm-hmm. It's hard because you have so many places that you want to see, but then you find a spot that's like so perfect. Like I said, from start to finish, every second of that trip was nothing short of perfect. So it's intimidating because, like, yeah, I do want to go back, but there's so many places to see. So
I know. We might have to do Tennessee before that.
I know, a little Nashville, because that's like the same
vibe.
Same vibe. Cutesy
Same vibe.
country.
Very demure.
We can still wear jean on jean.
Yes, we can.
But I want to kind of recap it again because you weren't here when I talked about it, and we have so many fun memories. And I mean, you guys surprising him was beyond special, and one of the most memorable memories
Yes.
I will ever have. However, Dylan walking into that house
It was the highlight.
Matt felt so special. And it was right before we were all getting ready to go to that awesome, I talked about Space Cowboy.
So fun.
Yeah. It was like one thing. I mean, you know me, go big or go home. I can't say that it all happened organically because I kind of forced it to happen this way. And I really
planned the whole thing. You literally planned the whole thing. Mm-hmm. It was amazing, which is why you're going to be planning my wedding one day because you're an amazing planner. We are very type A and type B.
Like you and I, like you're type B and I'm type A.
I feel like I'm in between an A and a B because I'm very structured. I work a lot, so my work schedule, I know what's going on. Anything else in my life, I'm very carefree. My room's not always
messy.
My room is not always the cleanest, but I'm very carefree, and I can go with the flow, but I feel like you are very planning oriented.
Yeah, I don't have like a combo of type A, type B. I'm just like stereotypically type A. You're a type B that likes a routine.
Correct.
Love that. And I love that about you.
Love that.
Loving that.
Very demure.
So we go to Space Cowboy. Coolest restaurant ever. I talked like about the whole ambiance last time. So
yes.
If you didn't listen, go listen. And then we went to, that's when we really fell in love with the Lime scooters. And I had said, like, I had Titanic on Tina's, and it was actually really hard. Like, my muscles the next day were so sore. So you had told me all night, like, ride your own, get your own. Do you want me to buy it for you? I'm like, no, it's not that. I'm just genuinely scared.
It was really scary because I don't even know how to ride a bike.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't get on one willfully right now.
I'm not a coordinated person. If you know
it's
me.
It's giving type B.
Yep. I'm very clumsy. Played sports all my life, and I'm probably one of the most clumsy people you'll ever meet. Getting into that, so we're riding back from Space Cowboy, and my best friend Alex, who came with us,
love her,
completely just eats the dirt off of this Lime scooter. And we're going through the construction, and I think she landed right next to the construction sign.
Yeah, you have a picture.
Yes, and maybe we can like insert it. And she immediately pops up. She goes, I'm fine. There's like scratches all over her. I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't even imagine. The next night, after we went to the comedy mothership, you brushed upon that. Mm-hmm. Also, one of the best nights of my life.
Yeah, we'll go back to that. You continue your Lime story.
So we end up going out after the show, and Alex and I, you say, hey, we're going to stay out a little bit longer. They're like, okay, you girls have fun. Text me. I have your location. Whatever. So we ended up going to the bar. We did drink and lime.
We drank and limed.
We drank and limed. And we're going, it had to have been a 45-minute ride back on that thing.
Yeah,
And
I would have definitely told you guys not to do that and just to Uber.
yes, we did end up Ubering, but for once, I was the one who said, hey, maybe we should get an Uber. And Alex was
She
like,
loved the limes.
we are liming back. We are liming back. So I said, okay, let's do it. So when we were going in the line of the limes the night before, if we were braking, we would say break. Alex did not. So I'm going,
Oh, no.
I am going full speed behind her on this 45-minute journey back home. And she didn't say it, and I didn't want to hit her. So I went, and I skirted around her, and I ended up eating the dirt. I had a huge gash on my knee.
Yeah, you came home bloody.
Oh, yeah.
So from then you Ubered
So then we Ubered
and
back
got home safely.
Yes, we did at 5 a.m.
And I want to go back to earlier that night because I raved about it enough, but the Comedy Mothership.
Oh,
Come on.
my gosh. Drinks were amazing.
It goes right to the drinks.
The drinks were amazing. Comedian, Steve Burns, amazing.
All of them were.
All of them were.
I was
And-
saying like how the first guy came out and just, oh, it's Matt's birthday, which is so funny because you and Alex especially were just like screaming the whole time, it's his birthday. It's his birthday.
Yes, we were.
But they all acknowledged it. Like, you know how you can just tell?
Which is really cool. They're just
Cool people.
Cool people. And then at the end, we were all acknowledged at one point. And then, truth be told, I don't really remember the timeline all too great. But the girls ended up getting up on stage at the
That
end.
was the very end.
And that's when I wish that we could have had our phones, but I understand why we couldn't, because it leaves a little mystery. Like, where in this society today, where do you go that you are not allowed to have your phone at all?
No, it's true. And it makes you live in the moment. It was funny, though, so I didn't touch upon this before. After the bar that we went to, I think it was the Hidden Pig.
Yes.
And it was just they were playing Avril Lavigne, you know, it was like a 2-story thing. All of the windows were open, the walls, like literally the walls open, and you're just out to the street. Like, it was so cool. So we went from there to Comedy Mothership. And we didn't know that we weren't going to be able to bring our phones in, which Matt and I have been to 2 shows. We saw Joe Rogan and Kevin Hart where they did what they did there. They lock up your phone. You still have your phone, but they put it in the locked pouch.
Right.
So you can't record. And I understand because, you know, you're paying to see the show, or if it's going to be a Netflix special, they don't want the recordings of it everywhere.
Pre-release.
Yeah, and they probably do want you to live in the moment and not be recording. Or, you know, they go to take a video of a joke, like professionally, and it's all the phones out. I totally get it.
Totally understand that.
However, we were in Texas. And at that point, Matt's mom was with Callie at home.
Right.
And there's a 1-hour time difference. So it was literally her bedtime.
Which can be the toughest.
Yeah, and honestly, everybody has put Callie to bed before that watched her that weekend. But I like to just check in, make sure everything is going well, sometimes check the camera from my phone, you know, normal parent things.
As a parent, that can be really, I can imagine, that can be very,
Yeah, like I'd just rather have.
like it takes a toll on you.
Yeah.
You feel like you really can't be in the moment because...
And thankfully, I was just going to say that
little human.
we were fully in the moment because the comedians were just so awesome. The ambiance was amazing. But I was trying to beat the clock because I had said this in the last episode. You had that 6 to 6:30 because the show was at 7. So
Right.
6 to 6:30 to get into that bar that funneled into the showroom. So it was like, say, 6:20 when we went over. So I'm beating the clock here outside of Comedy Mothership, calling Matt's mom, just making sure everything's good, letting her know, you're not going to be able to reach me at all. And totally not a big deal whatsoever, but it was kind of a little bit of like a hump
Anxiety.
where I had done all this planning. It was going perfectly. We got to Comedy Mothership so early thinking we were going to have to literally put our butts on the sidewalk and wait to get in. They have a really good structure there, but yeah, it was this weird little hiccup, like mom mode, where you're like, oh, with the sleeping. And speaking of sleeping, I said how I was on the Two Cool Moms podcast with Joe Gatto and Steve Byrne, and that's how I eventually told Matt about the whole trip. And number one, the fact of the matter is, for how long we've been watching Joe Gatto,
I know.
to actually talk to him was just
Very surreal.
Wow. Like, you couldn't believe it when you heard, oh, you're just casually, wow, this is so cool. And Steve Byrne. But we've just been watching Joe Gatto for so many years that it was just like really
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just really cool.
And it's fun.
It's a cool story. But then when I was on the podcast, I aired the clip of it in the last episode. So Steve Byrne had said, oh, with sleep advice, message my wife, and her name's Jessica Byrne, and her Instagram is My Dreamy Sleeper. She literally works with parents to get their children to sleep.
That's so cool.
Like,
That's really cool.
it just, like, the whole Texas story could not get more full circle than even just the part of, like, when Matt was finding out about it and how we told him and how everything was just so connected.
It's literally
But
the perfect trip.
it was a perfect trip. And I just want to say one thing I didn't mention in the last episode, this is how I still talk to...
You still message her.
I still message his wife. And it's just so cool. She's been a lot of help, honestly. And anyone that wants to reach out to her that's dealing with baby, infant, baby, toddler, kid sleep problems, she's really sweet just over messaging and will help you. But then also it's really nice to have that person where we're both having this growing business, I would say. The podcast, I would love for one day this podcast to be something big and be a business, monetize and just have things grow. As much as I love to do it now where it's at, of course I want it to grow.
Right.
So it's really cool because you have these two like female entrepreneurs that are sharing each other's stuff and encouraging each other, and it's just been this really cool like relationship that has come out of it. And it's just further proof that literally everything happens for a reason.
That's true. Maybe one day she can come on here.
Oh my
That would
gosh.
be really full circle.
Yeah, Jess, if you're ever taking a trip to New Hampshire, you
where
got
to
a seat
come.
right here, girl. I
know
love
where to
you.
come. Yeah. Well, we are going to try to do Vegas for your 30th.
Yeah, 30th is like, I was saying that too. For some reason, 30.
It's such a big deal.
Yeah, more so, I think, at least for, what I hear, 30 is more of like a huge deal than any other milestone, especially for women. Because I feel as though women always think they have this clock, whether it's for husband, for kids, probably this pressure. And maybe I didn't feel it because Matt and I met so young and we have Callie.
Right.
But
It's a very real thing. Even me at 23. Like,
you think about it?
Yeah, like finding the right person.
Okay, so you're feeling
Fine.
the pressure of 30 years old too.
Yes, finding the right... I can't even. Finding the right person. I do
Well,
want to
yeah.
have kids, and, my clock isn't going to run forever.
Wait, this is crazy that you just said you want to have kids because you got scared a little bit.
Oh, yeah. I was in the room for the whole Callie...
For those
Callie
of you
being
that
born.
for those of you that don't know, now you know. Abby was in the room the entire
was-
time of having Callie.
And I would like to be specific. I was not by her head. So,
No, she was all up in there.
Which, it is what it is. We are sisters who are extremely close, so it wasn't weird. But I don't think I blinked for 5 hours.
I can't imagine, honestly, as much as I love you or anyone else, like, I can't imagine being in the room. Like, that was a really courageous thing for you to stay in the room the whole time.
Yeah, I was not leaving you. And with love you. And with what I do too, I'm also a caregiver. So I'm used.
I may not be the elderly,
Yes.
but I am your sister, and
Yes,
you were there.
Seeing other parts of people isn't really crazy for me because of what I do with the
I
caregiving.
see. You're like desensitized to body parts.
Right. So it wasn't too crazy, but I've obviously never seen
A human
that
birth.
process. So yeah, they can cut me open. I probably won't do that.
Like a C-section.
Yeah, they can cut me
I
open.
was like super open to whatever, though. Like whatever needed to happen.
Callie was almost a C-section, I remember.
Yeah, she had, after like hours of pushing, which I actually enjoyed the pushing for the most part, but I guess I enjoyed it so much that I let it last a little too long. And yeah, she could have been. But at that point, though, when you've pushed for 3 hours,
You're like, I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I could see it in your eyes.
yeah, you're talking about, oh, we might have to move to C-section. Oh, no, we're not. If it was the OG plan, I would be all for it. However, now that I've done all of this work.
You've put all the hard work in.
Yeah, you bet your bottom dollar. No, it was not for nothing. We are getting this baby out this way. So I love you for all of that. That was amazing. And is there anything else, Texas trip, that you want to touch upon? I feel like that was it.
Honestly, I feel like we touched on pretty much every aspect of it.
Between last week and this week, I feel like all bases were covered. And speaking of trips, since we've recorded, we took another big trip for Amber's birthday. I don't know what it is with like us and birthday trips, but I think birthdays are a big freaking deal. I've always thought that.
Yeah, especially because Matt was 30 and Amber, our little sister, she turned 13, which is a huge milestone. And every summer growing up, Alexis and I, with our parents when they were together, we went to Hershey Park every summer, and I thought it was really important for Amber to experience that. And she's been there before, but she loves it. And I tried to do it last year, but the timing didn't plan out. So for it to happen this year when she's turning 13 was really, really special that we all got to be there, especially with Callie, which was a whole different ball game. We all shared a room.
Yeah, so we should start with the drive down.
The drive.
From New Hampshire to Hershey Park, it's like 7 hours if you don't stop. So it gets to like between that 8-ish, 8.5 with stops. And yeah, like you said, we used to go to Hershey every year growing up. A little bit of like a hiatus as stuff has happened with the family. So for her 13th birthday, you had planned the trip. Let's go. So we used to drive every year. And when you do pit stops on the way down, when you don't have a toddler, you can just say, oh, it's time to pee, and you hop out of the car, you pee, and you hop back in the car. But you can't do that to a 2-year-old because it's so mean. It's a tease. Yeah.
And it was kind of, I'm actually thinking about it now. You got to experience that long of a drive with a toddler because I was little when we used to drive. That was my first time experiencing a toddler on a big road trip.
Yeah, and I have to say, for the most part, she was pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't take her on long drives ever. Like, even this past weekend, we went on a drive that was an hour 20, and she was even like, ooh, when are we getting out? So the drive was pretty good. And then, yeah, I had picked your brain on staying in one room with 2 beds because the only time that Callie has ever stayed in a room with us was when Matt and I went to Disney just with Callie.
Yes.
And we had the room, and shout out to my dreamy sleeper again, because she her advice would be to be exactly what we did or to do exactly what we did in Disney.
Yep.
And that is normal bedtime routine. So sorry if you're sharing a room and you don't have the capacity to like leave the room, you're kind of part of the bedtime. And it's like you have the pack and play and you treat it like home and you turn the lights off.
I liked it though.
Well,
I stayed one night with them in Disney. I went with one of my best friends, and then I actually extended my stay to one night so that we could have a park day. And I actually got the best sleep of my life. I'm going to have to reach out to her for some sleep tips for myself.
For adults, she actually does do that too. She made a post about adult sleeping. But
that's awesome.
It is soothing. It is soothing to have the sound machine going and the pitch black. And if I were smart, I would do it every night, but never got into that routine. So here we are at 28, and I still go to sleep to King of Queens or The Office or Friends, and that's me. But
is what it is.
Yeah, it's just
I'm the same way, so
it's a habit. Yeah, it's a habit. But so for Hershey, we followed suit. We were staying at Hershey for 2 nights. Matt and I had a bed. You and Amber had a bed. And Callie had her pack and play. We were kind of okay if she ended up sleeping in the pack and play, sleeping in our bed, whatever needed to happen. So because we only had that experience with Disney, and that was it in a hotel,
right?
I thought, let's do the same thing. So I had told you and Amber in advance, let's try it. Just stay off your phones, give her 20 minutes to fall asleep. Works like a charm. Yeah, no.
Oh boy, were we wrong.
We were so wrong.
We were duped. Callie duped us at the ripe age of 2.
Yeah. It was pretty crummy the way that it was, and I know that you thought we were going to get kicked out of the hotel. She was being so loud, just screaming.
Being so loud. But you know what? All that exhausted energy just turned into excitement the next day. Honestly, nobody was in a... You get 3 sisters and a brother-in-law who's been in my life for 13 years. Yeah, I was 10 when you guys got together. So he's basically a sibling. Well, he is a sibling, but you know what I mean. Nobody bickered the entire time. We were all exhausted.
No, we were like, get me the hell out of this room. I'll go anywhere. Oh, Hershey Park sounds nice.
I'll go sleep on the coaster. Let me break in.
And she was good at Hershey.
Yeah, she was. I almost slept in the car one of the nights. I almost grabbed the keys and
the
slept in the car.
The first night. And then by the second night, she was so exhausted, and I had said, screw every note I've ever taken. We're throwing it out the window. You're keeping the lights on, the TV on. You guys are going to play Uno in your bed, and we're just going to hang. And when she crashes, she crashes. And that did work better. But you live and learn. I wouldn't have known that.
How would you have known?
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah.
Did not. Now I do. So basically, every single weekend in June, I have packed my house up to go somewhere, which is wild for me.
And that is wild for you.
Like, the first week of June was Hershey Park. The second week of June was my best friend's wedding that you also went to, but that was also a couple nights stay. And then this past weekend, we went to the lake overnight with Callie's little bestie, Clover. So all 3 weekends in June, except
you've
this
been
one.
Away. That is crazy.
And if you want to know something, packing for a toddler should be an Olympic sport. Because the workout that my brain got mixed with my body, packing, putting it by the door, keeping it. We went away, just us 2, this weekend, and Amber came, but I was only packing for me and Callie. And it would have looked, I was going away for one night with Callie. It would have looked like I was packing for a family of 7 for a week.
Oh, no.
It was crazy. And I can't say that I overpacked one thing.
She doesn't pack light.
I don't pack light, and she doesn't pack light. You have to literally pack your whole house.
Like mother, like daughter.
Yeah, literally. So those are the trips that we've done. Also, like, it trickles into May. I had planned that whole bachelorette for my best friend who got married
You had a busy 2-3 months.
Yeah. And I had started planning that bachelorette June of last year. So we're talking a full solid year of always having something on your mind to plan. And where we talked about me being type A, kind of sort of like it, but it gets so overwhelming. And like your brain at some point, you think it would just stop and take a load off. And mine just doesn't. It's like broken. It doesn't work like that, literally.
Hey, that's all right. But you know that about yourself. I wish I had a little bit more of your planning style in me. And maybe I could throw some of my spontaneousness at you.
I love that.
And then we would have the perfect balance.
If only it worked like that.
I know, and it just doesn't. And that's okay.
And that is okay.
We know this about each other.
But also, it works out because with me always wanting to plan something, we already have a Florida Disney trip booked for December.
Yes, we do.
So, I always have to stay busy as if, the wife, the mom, the hairdresser, the podcast, the trips, as if that wasn't enough.
You got a lot going on.
I need something to do. So
it's the unmedicated
it's always a new
ADD in us.
Yeah, it's always a new thing. Oh my God, speaking of new, I haven't done a podcast yet with my new tattoo. And
Wow.
You had touched upon this March birth month being like so big. So if you're watching and you're like, oh, what is that on her body? Because I talk with my hands a lot. I'm in love with this new tattoo that I got. So I have to shout out Brian Rutland Studios in Dover. He is the only person that I let tattoo my body besides that one time on The Bachelorette where we were very spontaneous. But that turned out well. So
I love that for you.
It's okay. But yeah, because I'm a planner, I always plan. And I got the March birth flower, given it's so important. And I wanted the stem to be Callie's profile.
I love it.
And I've also just had this secret desire to always have something trickling on my hand. A little like peekaboo, if you will, out of a sleeve. So Brian Rutland is amazing. He knew exactly what I wanted. He put this on. And then he kind of like took a Sharpie and he was like, what about this? Like he just knew what I wanted.
He just gets it. Mm-hmm. He's just that guy.
Yeah. So it's like you've got, the form that you can cover up, but it's very like classy and dainty and feminine. And I'm obsessed with it. You would think that having something like on your arms just put there one day that you've never had before. I mean, I'll be 29 this year. So you'd think it would be such like a big deal and it would take you so long to get used to it. But actually the way that he did it, I just feel like it's always been there.
And you love it.
I love it.
That's
It's
the most
like
important thing.
wearing jewelry when I don't have jewelry on.
It's very pretty.
So thank you.
it.
I just had to touch upon that because new things, and we've had a couple new things going on. So the tattoo, and you actually have Callie on your body too. So you take that away.
I have Callie's initials tattooed on my body, on my arm specifically.
On my body.
On my bod. It is a little unevenly spaced, but it's on there.
No, you obsess over the spacing.
Yes, I do.
I'm more OCD than you, and I can still see, like, if you're hooked up on, like, the K and the D being further apart than the D and the C, it's like K is, like, the first name. It's like, bam, K.
Right,
DC.
Right. DC. It depends on what angle my arm is at. Because one angle, it's perfectly aligned.
Oh.
And then I start moving it, and then it's just downhill. But it's K.
You think if you
DC.
just got, like, buff, they'd all space out?
I think so. That's my new journey. And then I have Amber's handwriting tattooed on me, XOXO. I have a Bible quote on my ankle.
Oh.
I have a tiny rib tattoo.
Yeah?
And I have Mom's handwriting on my shoulder. And then my next one, I saw it on TikTok. Under my heart, I'm going to get 3 hearts. And it's going to be, or 4. I got to do the math. With connecting the hearts is going to be the birth date of me, Alexis, Amber, and my mom.
Oh, I love that.
All interlocking together.
Yeah, all of yours are, like, very meaningful.
Yeah, and they're all on the right side of my body.
Mine are too, and I split it up with the ladybug because of that. Mm-hmm. But you don't notice it.
No, and even when I get my next one, you won't notice it unless I'm in a bathing suit.
Well, that's why this one felt like such a big deal for me, because you wouldn't know if I wore certain clothes that I ever had one tattoo. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of fun. It was like time to switch it up, and you just think like with my job, it doesn't matter. And to be fair, it's still very dainty and classy. But for some people, that does stop them from being able to get something that they want because of their job.
Which is crazy. I feel like things like that now are very normalized. A lot of jobs used to be sticklers about it. I know correct me if I'm wrong, if you wanted to be a police officer, you couldn't have anything
Below your sleeve.
Yeah, below your sleeve, and then there was a wrist rule, and I feel like now it's just maybe your hands, even if I don't really think they care anymore.
Well,
which is nice how it's evolved.
Count me out, I guess, but if I ever decided to do that, I couldn't. But yeah, with my job, and it doesn't
literally
really matter.
Perfect.
So that's that. That's one new thing. And another new thing was getting Haley married. Haley and Austin.
The perfect wedding.
Perfect wedding, perfect couple, perfect bestie.
Perfect honeymoon.
Yeah, they're in Italy right now.
They really hit all the spots.
I know. They're like our favorite people.
And Haley got her dream Taylor Swift love story dance.
Oh, yeah. That was fun.
She's a big Swiftie. Unpopular opinion. I'm not a huge Swiftie, but I love that for her, and she got to have her moment, and it was beautiful.
Well, she's like an OG Swiftie who doesn't
is.
listen to her as much anymore just because of all the crud
I like her
going
old
on.
stuff.
Yeah, it's just like, you go through phases, and when you start to like dislike a person, sometimes you just can't really listen to their music.
I know.
But she needed that moment, like at the reception, the love story song, and Austin knelt when it's like
cute.
Knelt down on the ground, and it was really perfect.
It was a whole vibe.
And Callie was a flower girl.
She really danced down the aisle.
She did.
And then, what's it called? Ring bearer?
Yeah, the ring bearer.
Ring bearer. I know things. He fell asleep.
That was the cutest thing in the world. They were like, Owen, can I have the rings? And this little perfect Owen, there were two ring bearers. One was one, though. And, Owen's a little older, so he had the rings. And we look over, and obviously, like, I'm so laser focused on Haley and Austin over here. And then, Owen, can I have the rings? And you look over, and he was so perfect. He held that box for 2 days straight. The entire weekend that we were there, he had that box in his hand. And we look over during the ceremony, Owen, can I have the rings? And he's sleeping. And it was, honestly, Callie dancing and Owen sleeping when you needed him. Like, Haley and Austin wouldn't have had it any other way. They just wanted it to be authentically them. It was the only kids that they had at the wedding, and that's all they wanted, was for it to just be organic and fun and no pressure. And obviously behind the scenes, that's never a thing, because you have to almost do the work to make it look effortless, but it really was a seamless day. It was perfect.
Perfect night. And I had never been to a wedding before, so I didn't really know what to expect, but it was literally the perfect night.
It was a good first wedding.
Love you guys.
Yeah, we love you.
Shout out Haley and Austin.
Shout out Haley and Austin. I hope Italy is everything you wanted and more. And I hope you have babies really soon.
Yeah, really soon.
Another new thing is Matt and I went to Chris Bright's campaign announcement party. So if you don't know Chris Bright, now you know. He's running for Congress in New Hampshire, and he is just an awesome human. So, he's somebody who has a lot of pride, knows what he's talking about, but he also has like a combo of a military and a business background, which I just feel like is so important. Me even saying that just shows he knows what he's talking about. He has values, clearly a problem solver. He's just like a leader. So it was really cool. I had met him at Londonderry Old Homes Day. I think it was just the one last year. And ever since then, I met him and I'm like, what can I do to help you move forward? It was literally meeting him that day, kind of going over his values and who he is. And I was pretty sold.
He's an awesome individual.
He really, really is. And when it comes to like the military leadership, like he was a West Point grad, U.S. Army veteran. He's led missions himself under fire. He's led international negotiations to prevent conflict. Like I could go on and on and on, point by point, all through his bio. But just that, like courageous.
Very admirable.
Yeah, admirable, pride in the country. I mean, I always, if someone has a military background, it's a huge notch up for me in a leadership role.
I agree.
When it comes to like state or federal. Mm-hmm. You know, it shows your values and it shows your drive and a lot of other things, but that's what I would say.
I agree.
And then on top of that, business management. He's the founder and CEO of one of America's fastest growing companies. So you know money and you know military. That
what
alone,
more could you want?
Yeah, that on top of being a really cool human being. I don't know how you balance all of that. So I don't know about you, but I feel safer going to bed knowing that someone's just doing the right thing, making it safer, making New Hampshire safer, making New Hampshire smarter. You know, I haven't always been crazy into politics. I've always cared. Mm-hmm. But I feel as though I've never taken such a stance or posted as much or really had anybody know who I voted for.
Been out there as much about your political beliefs. And I feel like, not to get too much into it, but I feel like today it's very hard to be in the middle. Yeah. And I feel like even if people don't want to say it, you do sway more towards one side than the other. Doesn't matter what it is, but I feel like
you have to.
Yeah, I feel like it's impossible nowadays to just be in the middle.
Yeah, I've always been really proud to be a registered independent.
Proud to be an American.
One of the best. And I am proud to be American.
Yes.
Unlike others, okay? I just feel so strongly about having someone who cares and knows what they're talking about. And it's hard with people my age, your age, even as young as Amber with the social media. You see a lot of headlines. You don't fact check it, or when you do fact check something, it's in the article where you saw the headline. Yeah. So you're not really looking at other sources. With what you search on your phone or you talk about, stuff's probably already filtered. It's hard to find the truth.
It's really hard to navigate the fake news of it all.
Totally.
Yeah.
It is really hard. So I just feel on the flip side of that, I'll never stop doing research. And I think it's really important to inform yourself about anything. Mm-hmm. But especially with the world, the country, your state, what's going on. A lot of people that I know for a fact, don't vote state. And they just vote for, the big guns, the president, vice president. But when you want to complain constantly about what's going on in your own home, but all you did was vote for the president and the vice president.
And nobody else. It has an impact. It really does.
It really does. And I would encourage everybody. I mean, I'm going to have Chris Bright on this podcast, which is going to be a really awesome episode.
I'm so excited.
And I'll leave a lot to him to say. I just wanted to almost introduce him as somebody that I proudly support, somebody that I consider a close person, and I haven't known him for that long, and somebody who's really well-spoken, has the military and the business background, and can just do really good things for us. And the last thing I'll say on it is when we do our research, right, and we use at our own discretion, decide what's true and what's false, and what we like, what we don't like, what we believe, what we don't. We shouldn't have to work so hard. I genuinely believe in educating yourself, like I said, with whatever it is. But at the same time, you should not have to look that hard and determine for yourself what's true, what's fake news, right? I would rather still be in the know, and for myself as a human, do my own research. But I'd rather have somebody like Chris Bright in charge to where I don't have to do all of the searching.
Because you just straight up tell me what you believe in, what your values are.
Yeah.
And it's easy to gauge that way. I feel like with the big guns and stuff, sometimes it's hard to navigate what's true and what's false. And I've never, also before this year, I was never really a political person either. So education is power. You want to give yourself that advantage of knowing what's actually going on. So you sound educated and you don't just sound like you're just reading headlines.
Yeah, just
kind of what you were
spewing
saying.
what people want to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, moms for Chris Bright, girls for Chris Bright, women, men, dogs,
Everyone.
everyone. Like, if you want to, I want to rest my head easy at the end of the night. I mean, I've only been a mom for 2 years, and there's so much out there that's so intimidating to, like, shelter Callie from or protect her from. I just want someone in charge that's going to make my battle as a mom with the rest of the world, like, just be easier. So I will have him on. He will be a really fun episode to listen to. And we just love you. Go Chris Bright.
Slay Chris Bright.
Yeah, Chris Bright for Congress. Speaking of state, country, pride, 4th of July is tomorrow.
Oh my gosh.
Happy 4th, everybody.
The USA.
Yeah. I actually, it's really funny. I have a note on how nostalgic the patriotic songs are. And that song and Independence Day by Carrie Underwood are my 2 all-time favorites. Probably like 2 of my all-time favorite songs ever. But they just give you this, you're in your feels, you know, you take pride.
You can feel it in your gut.
You feel it in your gut. What happened to taking pride in your freaking country?
I know.
Where did it go? I'm
sorry.
so sick of people like complaining, you know, go somewhere else then, because at the end of the day, like 4th of July, Independence Day, be proud, say it loud.
There's a lot of people, I just think I don't want to get too much into it, but I feel like it's very disrespectful to people who are effortlessly fighting every single day for you to have the rights that you have, and then you just completely are ungrateful, burning the flags, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. All these things. If you really don't like it, no one is forcing you to be here, and I think it's very disrespectful that people don't have pride in where they live. What protects them.
Yeah. There's a reason why people try so hard to come here. There are reasons why people are so proud to be an American. I don't care how cheesy it sounds. We are a fantastic country. We are very blessed to have been born here and given this life. And at the end of the day, it's our job to respect it. It's going to do nobody any good not loving the country that you live in. So I think it's a good time for Independence Day. Let's all stand together. Yeah, I agree. Go listen to Independence Day and God Bless the USA for starters. You know, it's
it'll
put you in the mood. A little bit of a switch here, but I do really connect it. USA, right?
To Love Island,
USA. Because this is a lot of Alexis. And if I want to talk about vacations and weddings and my toddler and politics and cheesy reality trash TV in the same episode, I can do that.
We're allowed to dish Love Island.
Yes.
Fly me out to Fiji. She has applied me twice.
Okay.
For Love Island.
I just want to calm your mind a little bit because I've applied I literally did. I applied Abby twice to Love Island USA, and I answered about 70 to 80 questions that you had to type. This was not multiple choice. This was, I showed her personality, okay? And I'm sorry, there's a reason why Abby did not make it on Love Island. She's a beautiful girl. She's got the bod.
Thank you.
She's got the wit. I mean, I made you sound like you had the wit because I answered the questions.
Right.
But
right.
I know that you have it, which is why I naturally gave it to you, in your answers.
Right. You just plumped it up a little bit.
Yeah, I made it type A. I made it all pretty with a bow, and I think that was the problem. I think that's why you did not get picked. Because, sorry everybody, if you look at the people that got picked, I would not feel too bad about not being on the show. There's some gems we'll talk about in a second, like who we like, dislike, all of that. But yes, I have applied Abby twice, and I don't think it's a bad thing that she hasn't gotten on, because the guys that are on there, like, you're way too good for those guys.
I don't think any of them are necessarily the most attractive people I've ever seen either. Honestly, I would love to go on Big Brother.
Yeah, it's always been our dream. You've always wanted Big Brother. I've always wanted Survivor. I can't say that, like, as we all know, I would not thrive in nature, but I think I would be that character on Survivor that's like, how is she gonna do this? And then I just do.
And then you just win.
Yeah. But for Love Island,
yes.
For those of you who don't watch and you think you got to this part of the podcast episode and you can tune out, don't. Because this is going to be entertaining.
It's
and
fun.
If you're not up to date, we're recording this on Monday. So we have just, if you do watch, you'll know that's right after the heart rate challenge. So if anything happens on tonight's and Tuesday nights, and there's nothing Wednesday. So we're only behind 2 episodes talking about this. So use your judgment. If anything crazy happens, just know we haven't seen it yet. But I have some, like, little rapid fire Love Island with where we're at.
Let me adjust. Okay.
So
I'm ready.
just, like, first thing that pops into your brain. Okay. And I'll answer them too, because I think I know my answers. Favorite girl.
Ooh. My favorite girl is Sierra or Iris.
Yeah, Sierra or Iris. I'm a Shelly. I love them, though. I think they were my 2 favorites for a little while. What I don't love, and here comes the spoilers if you're not totally caught up, is how when Nick and Alandria, like, kiss and got together, whatever, how Sierra was, like, so okay with it, and now she's going back.
Right.
Like, you need to have a backbone and really process and think and know that you're not okay with that, not just, like, try to people please.
Right.
So your favorite girl is between Sierra and Iris. I'm just going to say Shelly, because I think that this last episode really split them apart. It's Shelly and Iris more than Shelly and Sierra, okay?
Yeah.
So that's girl. Favorite boy.
Oh my gosh. My favorite boy was Charlie.
Okay.
But now my favorite boy is Pepe.
Yeah, Pepe is pretty cool. He's, like, showing up the last couple episodes.
He looks wise, I think he's the cutest. And just personality, he's just a chill dude.
I agree.
And he does not get enough camera time.
I think that's part of the problem. My favorite boy, I would say, is Taylor.
I disagree. Now I disagree.
And I'm talking, like, pure personality. I have to say, I think, like, cutest, you're talking, like, Nick, Pepe, around. Yeah, that's probably it. But, yeah, if I were, like, on paper, my type on paper is Taylor.
Yeah, I think that Elon, they say Elan, it's Elon. I think he's very cute as well. He gives very much, like, Jack Harlow vibes.
Yes, I agree.
And I think he's cutie.
Yeah, he's, like, more your type with, like, who you've been with in the past looks wise. But yeah, no, I would say Taylor, and I don't know if this is unpopular opinion yet because we haven't seen much buzz around it, but I love that he switched from Alandria. I
Yeah.
liked them together until I saw how he was with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. That's just how I
You
feel.
can't do much about it, but that's the whole point of the show, is exploring new connections. And then another connection came in, and he felt in his heart more with her. And that's the whole point of the show.
Yeah, but what I liked about it was that he changed his mind, and then he stayed with her. Mm-hmm. There wasn't, because Matt is a big Love Island watcher, okay? He loves Love Island just as much as us, okay? What we don't like is when you have all of this effort of watching time, and they're in the villa, Casa Amor comes, they create another connection, it's all of this drama, it's all crazy, and then within one episode, they're back with their original person.
Yes.
I hate that.
Yes.
I feel like I've invested all of my time and energy and reactions, and it's just
That's
gone.
when it starts to feel a little scripted.
Totally.
Just for
And I
like the
think-
drama and the clickbait and everything.
Yeah.
That's when I feel like it's a little scripted.
I don't like when people care too much like about America and what they think.
Yep.
So favorite girl, okay. Favorite boy. We don't agree, but we don't disagree. So we have like a group
Yeah.
of favorites. Okay.
Nothing too crazy.
We've I guess I don't know. I said who would you choose? That was another rapid fire question. So yeah, if you were in the villa, right? Everything, looks, personality, like if you had to pick somebody to be with, who would it be?
Pepe.
Yeah. I think I agree.
Yeah.
I think I agree. I think I agree that he doesn't get enough screen time, but I also agree that if you're looking at the whole package, I think I'm there with you.
Ironically, it would have been Pepe or Charlie.
You really like Charlie.
Yeah, I did. I thought he was cutesy.
Yeah. He was fun.
So if you're still single and you're seeing this.
Oh my god. From the UK.
Yep.
Another question I had was, would you want to be casted in the villa or a Casa Amor girl?
I think in the villa.
Me too.
Initially, because it's almost like you're desperate to get into the villa when you're in Casa.
I agree.
It's just giving desperate.
Yep.
And I don't love it.
And a lot of stuff is authentic, but it's the point, right? It's like a temptation.
Yes.
It's not as taken as seriously as like even a bombshell. Yeah, I do love when somebody doesn't necessarily have a connection and then it feels authentic because they finally found somebody. Okay, so then my next question is, if you're in the villa, would you rather be an OG or a bombshell?
Bombshell.
I was thinking OG.
I think I'd rather be a bombshell. Because then it's right in between like a Casa girl.
It's true.
And
It's the best of both worlds.
kind of like Amaya. Amaya was a bombshell, but in my eyes, now that we're going on so long, I would like to be a bombshell when she came in.
Yeah, like an early bombshell.
Not like a Adrena.
Because
I
then
don't
people
like that
can
timing.
still come in for you, knowing you.
Right.
You know, like, oh, I really like
And-
Abby.
And you won't get voted off right away. Like, you have time to build a connection if you come in during that time.
Maybe not voted off, but you might at a recoupling.
Mm-hmm.
So,
That's
you know,
true.
there's still a risk. But yeah, I think I want to be there like day one. And then I have some instances, like I picked a couple, not characters, I picked a couple cast members and like what they're going through and like what would you do. So Sierra, this whole thing with like Nick and Alandria and how they went about it. Would you be more like her original reaction and try to be cool about it and brush it off? Or would you have a huge problem with it?
I think I would be right in the middle. Because I totally agree with what Iris said to her. This connects to the end of the episode too, at the end of the heart rate challenge, with the whole Shelly, Huda, Ace thing. And with the whole Huda, Jeremiah, kind of like, I wouldn't appreciate after like just exploring a connection to explore it. I don't know, I wouldn't appreciate it.
Okay.
I really can't.
Okay, so yeah,
verbalize
you're
it.
kind of in the middle.
I'm in the middle.
Okay. So if you were Taylor and you had his experience, would you have, at the recoupling, chosen Clark or Alandria? Because I'm Team Clark. As much as I actually, Olandria's grown on me and I do like her, but for this specific situation, I am Team Clark for Taylor.
I like Clark for Taylor, but I feel like the connection piece was stronger with Olandria because they had that time to build the connection. But I'm excited to see what Clark and Taylor can create.
But if you're Taylor, who are you picking?
I gotta say Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think when it comes down to it, that's the decision he had to make. That's how he felt too.
I feel like they had more chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
You could see it in their eyes.
I agree.
I feel like they had more chemistry.
Moving on to the next person. What should Shelly do right now after everything? Because she has, what's the guy from Casa Moore's name?
Chris.
Chris and Ace. So,
Well,
which way are you leaning right now if you're her?
I feel like she has a right to be upset. I would stay with Ace.
I would too.
Yeah.
I think that Chris really, really cares for her, and I really don't think that there's a wrong decision. Like, I swear I don't. I think if any other girls come in for either Chris or Ace, they're not moving from Shelly. But her and Ace have, like, a little cutesy thing that I think, like, years down the road, that would be, like, a really good foundation.
Yeah.
All right, I have Huda the fuck. Enough said.
Honestly, I don't love Huda, but I see both sides to what happened because it was a challenge.
Wait, but what are you talking about specifically?
I'm talking
What
about
happened?
specifically during the heart rate challenge when they were saying she went too far.
Yeah.
I'm talking about that, and
Okay.
that's kind of where I was going before with the whole leg up. Shelly went back to Chris twice, all over her man, and then when they got pulled and Huda was all over Ace, it's just a challenge. Maybe it went too far, but I think there was a little bit of an overreaction. And I don't
Okay,
love
so
her, but-
my thing with Huda is when she was with Jeremiah, anybody that even looked at him, they're crucified.
Yep.
So if she did not have that stance, then she would have a leg to stand on of it's just a challenge, I'm trying to win.
Right.
So there's that with the heart rate challenge. I think over the entire course of the show, I don't know how she's still on my screen.
No, she should have gotten voted off the second time that she was, I think she was up for elimination twice. She
Yeah.
should have been voted off the first time. I feel like she's trying to evolve into something else, but then she just keeps showing her true colors and going back to her roots.
But she's also somebody that in the confessional keeps saying, America seeing this, America loves me, this is America. Stop thinking about winning the show. Stop thinking about getting in a couple that's going to take you to the end. Stop thinking about that. Stop thinking about this as a production. Because to be fair, even if you were, you should be pretending that you're not. Because that's going to make people instantly not like you.
Right.
So I think people are keeping her on for the drama. I really try to find like silver lining, you know,
Yeah.
like I always do. I just feel like with her, she's getting worse for me. She was my favorite out of the get-go.
Yeah, she was cool.
And now I can't stand her. And I think with this heart rate challenge, it went above and beyond for me. I do agree that I think it was an overreaction for the heart rate challenge from Shelly, if we're just like looking at it point blank. But with the whole background of watching the entire show,
Then you understand why she reacted that way.
yeah, and she's absolutely valid. Just because it was Huda with how she was.
Right.
And Huda has nobody now. So I also understand from Huda's perspective, like, I have no ties. I'm just going to try and win the challenge. But with what we've seen from her, do we really think that that's what was going on in her brain?
I think she wanted to prove a point because Ace didn't really like her from the get-go and wanted to prove a point. Like, I can get your heart rate going even if
Yeah.
you did judge me in the beginning.
She just cares what people think about her, which is it's sad, but it's also like you're a mommy. Your mom, your mamacita.
Mamacita. Mamacita.
Your mom of what? A dog? I saw that there's like this song on Reels. I have to show you that they like made out of that.
Oh,
it's actually really
God.
funny. Okay, so I want to know if you think that there's going to be a movie night.
No.
You don't.
I don't think there was enough juice. I think last season there was a lot of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
This season...
A lot of lies, like that you could find something out.
Yep. This season, I think that's why they made the big twist of everybody comes back and everything, because there was going to be no movie night. Because
Like the way that the recoupling was after Casa Amor.
Yeah.
But what... Don't you think a good movie night clip would be Sierra knowing the actual way that Nick and Alandria were talking?
I would love for her to see that, and I would love to I would love for her to hear Nick say that Jaden was her number one, at that point.
He
in
got
time.
shady.
Because that was weird.
But that's the one thing, that's what I was saying that we hate. You know, you're all in on Casa Amor, and because Sierra's gone, you're going to be this way. And then when you find out there's, you know, an hour left of Casa Amor, you're all in for Sierra. So,
right.
yeah, it is a little bogus to me. But if there are winners in the villa right now, who do you think that it would be?
And it has to be a couple.
Yeah. Like, if the winner, I'm sure more people will come in.
Mm-hmm.
But who do you think, if the, winners were announced tomorrow as a couple, who do you think that it would be?
It would probably be Ace and Shelley, in my opinion, just because they both try to explore something new without it going too far. And they've kind of stayed true to each other. And they've also they've explored other people.
Yeah.
Which is important. Like in the beginning with Huda and Jeremiah, they were so dead set so quick. And I feel like they've explored pretty much every avenue that they've wanted to, and they're still together, even though they're kind of fighting right now. But
yeah, I feel like I would move how Shelley moved. You know, you try to find something consistent, and then if you do, you know, you're loyal. But I agree. I'm thinking that, or because like America's just America, maybe like Nick and Sierra.
yeah,
You know,
that would be
either one
good
of them,
too.
I feel like they have the best bet. But honestly, who should win is maybe like Austin and his girl, or Pepe and his girl, because it's just been so easy. And like you said, there hasn't been a ton of camera time for them because they can be considered, quote, boring.
Yeah.
But this is why, all in all, for Love Island, Matt and I, USA is our least favorite. Least favorite. Love Island Australia and Love Island UK are superior. You will never convince me otherwise. And even the After Sun, they brought in Sophie Monk, a different host, who is literally the creme de la creme. We love her so much. And they bring her in for After Sun because they know Ariana can't do that.
Yeah.
No way. I mean, I don't care if she's busy. I don't care whatever. She would not. She's just not the one. Like Sophie Monk and My Drama, like they're just the best. Wait, have I told you my number one draft pick for Love Island USA host?
Tell me.
Hillary Duff.
It would literally be perfect.
Ashley Tisdale's like a runner-up.
Yes.
But Hillary Duff?
One of those two would literally be perfect. And I think a lot more people would watch.
Imagine Hillary Duff at the fire pit. Epic. Epic. Make it happen.
It takes my breath
Come on,
away
Peacock.
just thinking
Like,
about it.
Make it happen, because she's really good in front of the camera,
Like,
too.
you don't have to be trendy. Like,
yeah. And
know what?
honestly, like, the UK and Australia hosts are just, like, so superior that we thought, like, Sarah Hyland was kind of like, wah, wah. And now we have Ariana, and we're like, give us Sarah back. No, I want Hillary Duff. Okay?
Yeah.
You've all heard
Is that
it.
too much to ask?
If it happens, I called it. You're welcome. I
One of
hope
the
this
most-
video surfaces and she catches wind.
She's beautiful and unproblematic.
Yeah, I love her. So that's Love Island. Clearly we're passionate about it. anything else you want to say kind of about Love Island, or do you feel like that wraps it up? I can't wait to see what happens.
I know. We're gotta tune in after this.
I know. We'll have a little margarita slumby, watch it with Matt. He's waiting for us, and it's gonna be a good night.
Amazing.
So I want to talk about how this podcast, A Lot of Alexis, is going to work moving forward. So every year, just as any podcast, most podcasts, and any TV show, they have seasons. A Lot of Alexis will have seasons. It will have season 1, part 1, part 2. Season 2, part 1, part 2, so on and so forth. So this is a very important message for everybody to listen to. I hope you didn't tune out if you're not Love Islanders and miss this part. So the podcast moving forward, this is the final episode for season 1, part 1. So congratulations.
Yay.
You were my first guest and last guest of part 1.
Yay.
And we are going to take a little hiatus and come back for a fall part of the season. Just like TV shows, you have spring, summer, fall. We're going to follow suit. It feels very natural, but this is episode 9. We're just getting started. So I'm not going away. I will still be here every single week. A Lot of Alexis will still be visible every single week. So what we're going to do is, we started this in May. Now it's July 3rd. And for the next however many weeks, we're going to do mini episodes. I know, it's going to be really fun. So what that looks like is on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and clips on TikTok, you will find every Thursday still. Thursday is not changing. Every single Thursday, there's going to be a mini episode of A Lot of Alexis. It'll be somewhere in the range of, 5 to 20 minutes. I'm going to be by myself. I'm going to get somebody in here, and it's going to be just that, a mini episode about something fun and random, a current event. We can play a game, anything. You're still going to see my face, our face, every single week on Thursday. So we're going to have a great summer, a great Labor Day weekend. I'm going to have a freaking birthday in September, and then we are back with full-length episodes.
Yay!
I know. It's kind of fun to structure everything and just see how it's going to work moving forward. It feels legit. It feels fun. I'm excited, and I guess we gotta give a what will season 1 part 2 starting September all the way close to the holidays, and then we're going to have a holiday episode come out, but that's later on. So season 1 part 2 starting September 18th, we're going to have Mom on. Matt is finally going to show up. Yay. I had to make you wait a little bit. I have the sissies on, Matt Goslin, the man of the hour who makes all this happen. And then I want to get Mom, Matt, friends. Chris Bright will be on. I want to have some state reps on. I want it to be fun, educational, honest, open, uncensored. All of the things that you're getting now, it's going to continue. So September 18th, that is when we are a go for season 1, part 2. Did you have fun?
I had so much fun.
And Abby will be back. Here. Duh. I mean, the sisters, you if I can't get rid of them, you can't get rid of them. So they will be
yappers. We're a big yap family.
Yeah. So I hope you absorbed all of that. If you didn't, you can literally just rewind it and listen to it again. And I will be reminding you on all of the socials. So with that, thank you, Abby, for being here.
You're welcome.
Can't wait for season 1, part 2. All next week. Through that, we're going to have mini episodes. It's going to be so fun. So thank you for joining us here today, where there's a lot to say, a lot to do, and a whole lot of Alexis.
Wake up with the sunrise. It does not